Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to sew in a track, one single track. So we're not gonna put it right here. We're gonna put it mid, like right where her earlobe is, like right here. So I'm gonna part on each side, like that, under her earlobe, brush her up, section this off. Okay. And I'm going to make a part for my braid. Okay. If there's any excess here, you can take a clip, section it off. Okay, now that we have a part for our braid, very like a centimeter thick. I'm going to, this is the part I'm going to braid, so I'm gonna section this off really quickly so I can take care of this. And this, I'm going to put it into a tight ponytail so it's out of my way. You can use a hair clip, but I'm not doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna let that go. And so now we have our space for our braid. So here's what you wanna do for a single track, right? There's other methods like tape-ins and stuff like that. We don't wanna do that. We wanna do an old-fashioned one track. So what we're going to do is braid 2 braids. I'm gonna halfen this up. So each braid is gonna be braided this way so it can meet together. So one skinny braid this way and the other this way. And then we're going to go like this with the braid so that no hair is hanging out of our track when it's time to sew down the track. So we're gonna start like that. And section this off so it's out of my way. And then I'm going to start the braid. Make sure it's tight to where when it's time to sew, that it's not getting loose and the tracks won't come off. Okay, move that out of the way. Her hair is very choppy, but that's fine. We're gonna make this as if this is our actual client and the hair is like damaged a little bit. But we're gonna put some tracks in because she wants her hair in like a silk press style. You know, she wants to wear her hair out, but she needs a couple of tracks because her hair is not full enough. Sometimes it may not be full enough from here, but sometimes it may not be full enough in the hair shaft, or sometimes the ends just don't come together well. And for whatever reason, your client, either by your suggestion or by her observation, that she needs tracks. And it may not be many, and so you don't want to create a big braid pattern here and then sew in many tracks because she may not need that. So sometimes having single tracks help. And a lot of people sometimes don't know how to do that. They'll opt in and say, well, let's do glue-in tracks. And sometimes a client's hair may be too irritated for glue. And they also have tape-ins, but sometimes, then again, they're scared to do that. And then you have K-tips and, you know, invisible tracks and all these other technologies of hair that we have here. And now we have the crochet pieces now, which is totally cool. Okay, I'm gonna make sure this hair is braided. I need you to stay still, ma'am. Okay, so I'm gonna try to finish this within half an hour, this little tutorial. So make sure you braid the hair all the way to the tips. But in this case, I'm not gonna do so because I'm just showing you guys. So now that we have both of our braids braided, like so, 1, 2. And because I know I don't have my ring light, I'm gonna do this solid. So you see how we have the braids braided towards here, and we have 2 braids. So now, when it's time to sew, it goes like this. And if there's still hair left over, this now allows me to sew a track at the top and a track at the bottom if I so wanted to. But I could bring it here, or I could simply just take a crochet hook and go in. So today I won't sew them down because it is a mannequin and I have other things I have to do with it. I'm gonna take this here and I'm going to crochet it through. Now, when it's time to sew this track in, and of course, it's going to be ready to be sewn down to the head, meaning I don't have to sew this down and sew the track down. When I sew the track down, it'll be kind of reinforced. So, sorry, got hooked on here. I'm gonna continue. Some of this little hair is in my way. And you don't have to do this method. I didn't start out doing this method. But some people, they just take the hair and they just sew it down. But because I have a mannequin today and not a real person, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so here's something I normally do. When it's time for me to sew down a track, and I do, like, I sew it down in opposite ways. I sew the braid down opposite ways. And when it's time for me to sew the track, if I have these 2 left, if I'm sewing and I didn't want to bring it around, I would definitely just grab these pieces when I'm sewing down a track. And a little bit will hang out, but the braid will be loose and this little bit of hair will be in the hair because the client is wearing her regular hair, but we're just sewing in tracks. So a little bit of hair can blend in with this and that. That's just something that I do. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna sew this down. We're gonna leave it like that. So make this go away, you know. Okay. So, stay. Okay. So today I have some nylon thread that I'm going to be using, and I have this needle here. It's a curved needle, and I have some black nylon thread. Depending on what color the client's hair is and the color of the track, you'll use different color. But for the most part, this hair is it's not cotton, it's just very shiny. Very shiny. So it's almost like hair wire in a way. Pretty good. But it's very hard to work with if you're new to sewing. So I'm gonna loop my hole in here. I loop the hole, Jesus. I'm gonna thread my needle. And it's fairly big, so it's not like sewing clothes, you know. It's really big. Push that through, bring it. Okay, we don't need it too long because we don't want this to get tangled. So I'm gonna cut it like this, and I'm gonna put that to the side. Then I'm going to tie the ends like so. Voila. And now I have my hair needle. My hair needle. Okay. Now for the tracks. Now for the tracks, this is pretty old. And I'm gonna use this track as a highlight to my client's hair and not a blend because it's not the same hair color. So this is like a rusty number 27. So from the back of the head, I'm gonna measure from where I started my braid to where I ended my braid. And that means that my client needs this amount must track. Now some people don't want to cut it, but because we're doing single tracks, we have to go like this. Now for the sake of time and the sake of me not happening to cut 2 tracks, I'm just gonna sew in one. I'm gonna sew in one because usually if I work with a client, I'll do double tracks. That's just the best way to do it, but we're not doing that today. I'm going to go through my track and I'm going to go over my thread and I'm going to pull. We want to stabilize it. And this piece of hair, I'm going to bring under, right? And I'm going to line it up with this braid. And I'm going to make sure I stabilize it under the track. And I'm going to put my needle through again, and I'm going over again. Okay. And we're gonna continue that. But now we're gonna start securing the thread. So we're gonna go over and, okay, let me do this again. Take the needle, it should be on your thumb so you can stabilize the track and the needle. And you're gonna take it, and you're gonna wrap thread around the tip of the needle. Not too tight, but just pull and stabilize it. Okay, so now we have our first kind of loop here. And I'm gonna continue to stabilize this braid while sewing under. It does take practice, guys. You can sew close together, but for the sake of me not having to damage my mannequin for whatever reason, or me having to take down a lot of work, I'm just gonna slightly show you guys. Remember, so each time now that you're sewing, you wanna wrap the thread around a needle right before you're about to bring it completely through. Okay, so that hair is in there, it's stabilized. Watch again, bring it through. Okay. Sometimes you're gonna get bubbles, sometimes you won't. But that's just because the hair is being caught on. But wrap it around twice. Bring it through. Sometimes you can catch that a little bit. Nothing's perfect, guys, but for some strange reason, this is getting all messed up. Okay. Sometimes when you're pulling it through, sometimes the threads can get uneven. So I'm gonna loosen it up at the base a little bit so I can straighten off those bubbles of thread. Sometimes it's stubborn, right? But here's a trick. You can take whatever bubbles you have, twist it like so, twist it like so, twist it like so, take it, pull it, take those bubbles and make a knot because we're gonna cut that excess off. We don't want that hanging off of our track. Make it into a knot. If you feel like you need to do one again, do so. And then cut that bubble off. With the scissors, cut that bubble off without cutting the rest of your thread. Simple fix, things happen. Here we go. And we're continuing the same thing. And guys, sometimes bubbles do happen, but that's fine, it's okay. And as you continue to practice, sometimes you won't have bubbles, sometimes it'll be something straight through. See, sometimes when it's pulling through and got other hairs caught to it, sometimes it'll give you trouble. Okay, good. That's why you want to make sure your thread is doing okay. Because we don't have time to keep making knots, right? So when you have a client in a chair, you have a certain amount of time to do a particular service. Sometimes it goes a pinch over. And you know what, that's fine, that little bubble is fine. We're gonna tuck that under and keep going. Keeps happening, but you know what? We're gonna twist, put that under. Because as long as I know it's sewed down, I'll cut it later if I have to. Go through. Go through. Go through. Okay. Voila, pull. Now at this point we got rid of some of the hair that was on the other side. Now we're gonna take this. We don't wanna pull it from here because that's gonna create friction. So we wanna line it up slightly like that. We don't wanna pull it like that. So we're gonna line it up a little bit and bring that tip towards where we just ended our sewing, and we're going to sew. So we ensure that it lays flat down, and we're gonna sew it, and we're gonna grab and go. Grab and sew. And that here gets reinforced with the thread and the track that you're sewing in. And because my thread is getting a little bit short, I'm just gonna keep a single thread. I'm not gonna wrap it around, but when it gets to the edge, I'm gonna wrap it around. I'm gonna wrap it around. Okay. See, that braid is not hanging out. Okay. Start sewing down. All right, it's getting reinforced. Okay, we ran ahead at the end. Sorry about that. Sewing in. See what's going on here? Now this is where I want to start bringing this doubled around because I want to lock it down. Watch this. Take the needle through, take the needle through, and I'm going to pull. Bring it through like regular right now. And then here it goes, the end of the track. We have a little bit to cut off, but we're going to take it, going to pull a little bit, and we're gonna flip like this. Make sure you have enough. And we're going to go like this. Bring a little piece of hair through, tie it. Bring a little piece of hair through, tie it. Bring that little piece of hair through, tie it. And now we have some to cut. The use of thread, that's all we got left for thread for one track. And we're gonna cut this little piece off because it's just hanging there. We don't want that, so. Okay, look at your work. Look at your work. Okay. You can look at your work. Now, it's time for me to take this out. dry. But there we go. Now we have a little bit of highlight for our client. Now I want you to see how that plays into blending it in with their hair. It's not too long. Okay. She has coverage back here. Straight shot when she's standing up straight. Sorry. Like that. Just a little highlight. So when it's time to curl it, there's a little blend here. She has a little highlight in the back. You have a little highlight here. A little highlight here. There you go. Flip the hair up. You should not be able to see the track from the edges. Let me zoom out for you guys. You should not be able to see the track from the edges. So when you pull this hair up, you're supposed to be like this. Sometimes, depending on how thick a client's hair is, you might need to do the braid a little thinner. But for the most part, this hair falls over. So if she wanted to put her hair in a ponytail, she could. Let me show you something. It's like a little highlight at the bottom. Just a little bit. Okay. Now we have a highlight. Shouldn't be showing. It's not showing. But you can see the little highlight at the bottom. Just a pinch. And that's a way for a natural hair client to color their hair without coloring.